Hello, I hope you're having an amazing, wonderful, energetic day. I want to share with you that you are a genius, you are special, you mean the world, and you are loved. Today's topic is accepting myself. And accepting myself, we should all accept ourselves. I think that each individual is really and truly, honestly, like amazing. There you have inside of you the resources to blow up, to be a star, to start you can start cultivating a seed right now, and that's an energy. And as long as you don't change the energy that you embody, like that energy is going to grow and grow, and energy just keeps growing and growing. And I mean, you're going to transmute your base emotions into elevated emotions of love. That's going to then result in your mind changing. You're going to change your paradigm. Your intelligence is going to go through the roof. Your actions are going to be more in line with your higher emotional states. If you're happy, you're not going to do something to lessen how great you feel. So you're just always going to be expressing that love because you know that you feel good. And as soon as you yell or you do something that could potentially lessen this, you're not going to, because all you want is to cultivate this elevated emotion. I know that this is ready, this is here, this is it's knocking at your door. Human beings are just so amazing. The Wright brothers, everything starts inside. The Wright brothers carried the imagination, in their imagination, an airplane. Tesla built most of his things using his imagination. Napoleon Hill, one of the greatest authors of success, is he would have imaginary conferences in his mind every single night with um, with amazing people. Jefferson, Ben Franklin, what else? Some inventions of his time, Carnegie, Rockefeller. I mean, he would have imaginary scenarios, imaginary conferences with all these amazing people, to the point that he started fearing. He did it so much, so vividly, that what he would imagine like would actually like literally happen the next day. And those times, imagination, memory was almost something that was kept in the dark in a box and put away. Not very many people were talking about it. It's not as common as it is in our time, where we have YouTube and all these spiritual teachers, and we talk about the third eye and all these other chakras and things like that. In his time, imagine talking about the imagination, but he was living it, and he was having an amazing experience. So I want to tell you that you are an amazing human being, and it is very important to understand that you are just so amazing, and we have to accept ourselves. That's the topic for today, accepting ourselves. And I want to ask you that you accept yourself 100%. But don't accept yourself how I was accepting myself in the beginning. In my journey, I thought the only way I can influence my life was through my physical body. How was I living this? Because one day, if it hasn't come, it will come. You will learn that you have the ability to be conscious. When that day happened to me, it's called the first awakening. I continued to live life the same way. I feared my internal thoughts. When I didn't fear them, I feared that if I had conscious internal thought, I would lessen the rate at which I manifest. I thought that if I had internal conscious thought, I would not obtain what I want to obtain, the jobs, the girlfriend, the sums of money. That was all a lie, ladies and gentlemen. I simply was telling myself, after the universe presenting the vastness that a human being is, I decided to simply not speak, not use my imagination, my third eye, my heart. And that is what I want for you. I want you to understand that living the life of to not think is to best think, that was my reality. I preached it and I swore to the death that that was the best way to live. And what happened? I lost my family. I was homeless, lost jobs, moved 100 million miles from my family. And all of that, I guess we can say, had to happen for me to learn that we do have everything that's inside of us. What scripture says that you have inside of you the light, a fire that can save you, and you have eternal life. Well, that's all correct, but it has to be done consciously. The secret is consciously. How conscious are you being? I call the fourth dimension the intermediate phase. The third dimension is to not think is to best think. That's where you can only affect your life by your physical body. The next one is the fourth dimension. That's the intermediate thinker. That's where I was also, where I would wake up from sun up to sundown. I would repeat words like affirmations like love. Well, why love? Because that's the highest frequency. If you want to start there, to hear yourself and just get to know yourself, you can start with that because love is a very high vibration. Make sure whenever you speak internally that you speak in a tone of love. And I share this from experience. I stopped repeating that word love because I was just doing it to get the job done. I wasn't doing it in love. I wasn't doing it with a passion. I was probably saying love, love. Like I was saying it negatively. So that was not really the effect that I wanted to have. So, if we're going to have internal thought, then we have to do it to empower us, not to have imaginary conversations. If you want to talk to someone, then go talk to them. Send them a message. Because although, in the complete scope of things, yeah, I mean, you are connecting with them, and that's 100% true. But how do you want to connect with them? Do you want them to be unconscious of your words to them, or do you want them to be conscious? Same for you. I mean, I can look at my life, and I would rather people tell me up front, that they love me, that I'm special, versus just using their mind. Because although in another realm, in another dimension, I am receiving this information, it doesn't touch me. It doesn't affect me consciously. I would never know. So the next thing is living through the heart. Because even whenever I was love, 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 we have to agree there are lapses of time where I am not sending a signal. So what does this mean? I'm leaving time. I'm leaving a great scope of time on the table. I'm not taking everything in. To take everything in is to live through the heart. The best way to live through the heart is to create a feeling of abundance, of love. You know those high elevated emotions that we don't even know if they're an emotion. We call it love, or we just call it like a spiritual sensation where it's like on your back and you feel it and it's warm. It might be to the legs, on your hands, or your wherever it may be, but we want this to last. That's what you can ignite right now, sitting there. That's called being an alchemist. If you're carrying that elevated state, like you don't care. You're not going to want to argue with your parents, and you're also going to want to share because you feel so good. You want to hug everyone and you want to spread love and peace. Accept yourself 100%. You don't have to use any of these. You can just live a physical life. You can just only use your heart. It doesn't matter. But accept yourself for who you are. And I'm here to tell you that you're much more than the idea of how amazing you are. You are much more than the simple fact that you can be conscious. You are an infinite being, a spiritual being having a human experience. And I hear you. Well, I mean, I've had my first awakening and it's kind of scary to think. I don't manifest. Like, if I have this internal conversation and I go meet that person, like, it's like they didn't hear me, or I have the idea that if I do have conscious thought, I'm not going to manifest. Well, again, you can't fear yourself. It's okay to not think. I don't always have conscious thought. I'm always living through the heart, yes. Do I always use the brain? Not really. I mean, I already feel good. To say that I've changed, the reason I don't have conscious thought is because I'm conscious somewhere else. It's different. My life now is much different than my life used to be because now I'm not using conscious thought because I'm using another internal faculty. Versus in the past, I had the fear of having conscious thought because I thought it would lessen my life. So what are the reasons you're not accepting yourself? If you're not accepting a certain dimension of yourself because you accept a much greater one, And that's, by all means, that's okay. That's life. That's called growing. That's called expanding, right? I used to race with the Honda Accord. Well, now I race with a Ferrari because it's better. I'm not gonna use my Honda Accord. I'm gonna win 1,000 more times if I use the heart. If I use the Ferrari. Accepting yourself isn't like about how you look, about the money. I mean, I'm sorry that we're beyond that. We're in 2020. We don't have to discuss like accept your job. Like, who cares? You know how you're going to accept your job? Make yourself feel good right now. That way you don't have to repeat to yourself or carry the persona that you're happy. Literally make yourself feel good and everything is going to fall into place. You don't have to think about how do I accept myself. You are accepting yourself. Your body, your cells are constantly sending out signals. Do you want those signals to be in response and a reflection of the energy that's being transmuted based on your external life, or do you want your cells to be releasing, sending out signals based on your conscious creation that is an elevated loving emotion? That's the way you have to ask yourself. But if you do the later, if you're consciously creating your emotional state, your internal state through the heart, accepting yourself, you've already taken care of it. I hope you've liked this video. Please comment what topics you'd like to hear in the future, and also share with me what tactics, what techniques, what do you do to accept who you are, what you are, and also share this video with your loved ones, with your mastermind group, with your small circle of friends, and comment below. Give it a big thumbs up if you've liked it, and I hope to see you in the side of light. Goodbye.